Hello and welcome to lesson 2.3. So this is going to be the first video today, and I'm going to just go over some of the announcements, and then I'm going to go over the nervous system. So our lesson today is broken into two parts really. So the first part is going to be body systems, and then the second part after our first Zoom call is going to be looking at brain imaging. So a few announcements before we get started. So retakes are, the final day for retakes is this Friday, and I need you to note here that you have to sign up by Thursday, October 15th at 3:30 p.m. You have to do this, and if you don't, that means you've missed the deadline and you're going to have to wait until the end of the semester. Okay, so please do not email me at 7 at night saying, oh, I forgot to do this. Do it now if you need to do a retake. You know now that you have to do it. Okay, so again, if you miss the deadline, you're going to have to wait till the end of the semester. To sign up for retakes, you can look in the frequently asked questions document, or you can look in the Schoology folder in Unit 1. You can also set up a time with me if you wanted to go over any material or how to study more efficiently. So shoot me an email if you're interested in that. The next announcement is AP payment. So obviously with us being virtual, it's changed a little bit. So we are accepting payments now, and there is a mail-in option, and you can see this information on the right. If you need to, you can pause the video to mark it down, but it's also found in your All Things AP Schoology group. Assuming we are in school next week, we do have an in-person option, and payment is due October 23rd. Any questions, please send me an email. So our purpose today for the first part of the lesson is going to be, I want you to be able to differentiate between the nervous and endocrine systems and then explain how they influence thoughts and behaviors. So for this part, we're going to be drawing a pretty large diagram. So the more room you have, the better. So I'm going to encourage you that you just start on a brand new page and that you use the whole page for the diagram. And again, if at any lesson or any point in the lesson you need, what's great about this is you can just hit pause or rewind if I'm going too quickly. So I'm going to move on to the next part. So take a few minutes to copy this down, and you can go ahead and hit pause. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the systems here on the next few slides. So what we're looking at here is the nervous versus the endocrine system. So as you can see on the diagram, the nervous system is our fast-acting system, and the chemical messengers are going to be the neurotransmitters. For the endocrine system, which we haven't talked about yet, it's more slow-acting, and the chemical messengers are the hormones. Now, why do I have hypothalamus up there linking the systems? What's going to happen here is this organ is going to connect the endocrine system with the nervous system. And basically, what the hypothalamus does is it tells the pituitary gland, which we'll look at in just a bit, to start or stop making hormones. And then the hypothalamus in itself is in its brain and it's in the nervous system. Okay, so we want to know that the hypothalamus is going to help the nervous and endocrine systems communicate with one another. Now let's take a look at the central nervous system. So the central nervous system is just two organs. It's your brain and it's your spinal cord. And what we had looked at here with the central nervous system, this is where the interneurons are located. So we had talked about three types of neurons with our first lesson: interneurons, sensory neurons, and motor neurons. And interneurons are located in the central nervous system. Now the peripheral nervous system gets a little bit more complex. So the peripheral nervous system is going to be the nerves that are extending out of your spinal cord. So you can see here there's a few functions. It's going to connect the central nervous system to organs, limbs, and skin. So it's going to be part of the sensory and motor. And then it carries the sensory and motor information to and from the central nervous system. And it allows the brain and spinal cord to receive and send information to other areas of the brain. and regulates involuntary body functions like heartbeat and breathing. Now, you don't have to write this on your chart. That'd kind of be a lot. It's just to know that the peripheral nervous system is really connecting your body to your brain and spinal cord. Now, we can break this down even further. So we have the somatic versus the autonomic. So the somatic here is going to be your voluntary skeletal muscles. So I liked how this was organized. It's just a slide from somebody else's presentation, but that the somatic nervous system provides sensory input. Okay, so those sensory neurons are going to go to the brain, and then motor output. So those motor neurons go from the brain to the body. And now what we need to do is break down the autonomic nervous system a little bit more. So autonomic are things that are automatic. So really below our awareness, we're not even aware that we're doing this. And this is going to be regulating our organs, homeostasis, blood pressure, things like that. They're going to things that are automatically done. So what I liked about this diagram is it shows the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic, and you just want to know that these are opposite compared to your drawing. Okay, so these are just some of the things. Now, again, you don't have to know specifically that it inhibits salivation. You don't need to know that. Okay, but it's just showing that the sympathetic and how it increases, and the parasympathetic is going to be like relaxing you. So if we go back to this chart, one thing I don't have on here. So sympathetic, it activates the fight-flight response. Parasympathetic, it brings us back down to homeostasis. So you can really do two things here. So you could write under sympathetic, fight, flight, and then under parasympathetic, it's rest and digest. So again, sympathetic, fight, flight, parasympathetic is rest and digest. Now right here, I have this really bad drawing of somebody with a parachute. I had to label the drawing. So why do I have that? Okay, if you can think fight flight activates you really fast, but the parasympathetic brings you down like a parachute. Okay, it's going to take longer to bring you back down to homeostasis after fight flight has been activated. And again, this isn't just used in fight flight. Okay, as you can see here, the sympathetic, it will dilate pupils, especially in that fight flight situation. Okay, but it accelerates our heart rate, stimulates glucose release, epinephrine and norepinephrine if necessary with fight flight. But here we are using the sympathetic and parasympathetic, even if we're not in a threatening situation. So now what I'd like you to do is we are going to go to FAST 2.3, and this actually should say part 1. I think I edited the wrong slide. Okay, so you're gonna you need to go to Schoology, and just gonna edit this. You need to go to Schoology and open up FAST 2.3, which can be found here. Okay, so you open up 2.3,